Hey y'all, welcome to First Comes Love, Then Comes Marriage podcast. My name is Lindsey Jolyn Jackson.
And I'm Aaron Jackson.
And this season, we are doing love letters to our children. And you are joining us in this conversation. So we had a conversation about traditions because
It's Holy Week.
it's Holy Week.
Yeah.
Resurrection Sunday's coming up, and we were talking about how we were raised. And it's pretty much like, this is the conversation because we are children who are now adults raising children. And so this has been a exploratory experience about us looking at our past, but then also thinking, what are we talking about with our future children?
Yeah.
So going forward, traditions and traits. I guess the conversation came about, it was like, what is something that was passed down to us that we also want to pass down to our children?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, also, what's something that was passed down to us that we don't want to pass down to our children?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So these are the two sides that we're talking about, but going with the first side, something that was passed down to you, maybe a tradition, maybe a trait, something about you, something that you like, that you
I
actually.
don't know why you're prepping me. I'm the one who came up with it.
I know, but I started.
Okay.
And then I throw it at you.
Because, yeah. And it also come about, there's a commercial, I think it's an insurance commercial going on, and the guy, he's like counseling people how not
you
to be.
You can't be your parent.
Yeah, you can't be like your parents, and people are acting like their parents. And so I was kind of like, what do you do? I saw this person that introduced me at work. They introduced me to their parent, like one of their parents, and they had like the same mannerisms. And you're like, oh, I get it.
And this happens a lot. Like actually the other day, Action was like, you sound like grandmommy. And I was like, okay. I mean, she did raise me.
Yeah.
But it's some things you can't help. And that's what that whole thing is like. You're conditioned this way, like your environment, your upbringing, your household, all the things. Even though I did see this one thing, and this guy said, no two children have the same parents.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I heard that before.
Okay. And I'm always like, yeah, that is facts. But you still get pieces of them that you don't even know you're getting. The way that they speak, the way that they act. Even if it's like, I don't want to do that, a little bit of it kind of seeps in.
Yeah. So I guess the trait that I want to like pass down, or something that I feel like I want to pass down, is, and it might have been passed out. My dad has always had a job since I've known him until he like retired. And I've always had a job since like 14, 15. I've always had a job. And so that's one of the things that I don't like. I feel like Shine has way more entrepreneurial spirit than Action. But like finding a way to make money, I think that's a really like, I don't rob banks, but I've always found a way. Is it stick-to-itiveness, or is it perseverance, or is it just like intentional? I don't know what it is.
You're a worker.
Yes.
And you want to pass down that working trait to your children?
Yes. I want them to be good workers. And I know that might sound weird because, especially in 2025.
I was going to say, kids these days don't want to work.
Exactly. 2025, they don't want to do nothing. But I want my people to have that same kind of, and I learned that through like my grandmother, my dad, my mom. I remember my grandmother, when we were around like 8 or 9, we used to go and tend to her yard, and she used to pay us, and like she used to work with us, but like we had like every Saturday we would go, and then the projects got bigger and bigger. So it wasn't just like clipping weeds, it was like putting bricks down, and then going to Home Depot and picking up the bricks, like doing like big projects. And we have to go from start to finish. So I think that was one trait that I want them, just being good at work, not being lazy. which I could be better at not being lazy when it comes to like fitness and lifestyle things. But when it comes to like work, for some reason, I make it happen.
Yes, you
Uh,
can get to work.
I could get to work. So that's one of the traits. One another thing that I I want to pass down is my respect for everybody, but my respect for like elders.
Mm,
Like I still treat, even though I'm a grown man, I still like treat older people with not like a deity, but like, I treat them with reverence.
yes.
Uh and I learned that from like my mom and dad. They kind of was like, and people don't do that. Like sometimes, how do I say this? Like I thought it was weird and it was just me. But like calling adults when I was younger, calling adults by their first name
Yes.
was such a weird thing to me.
But it's so crazy because it's like nowadays, especially with this genderless world, it's you people are it's a little odd to say like, "Oh, this is Miss Jackie," or "This is Mr. Abraham."
Mhm.
You know, people don't want you to do they don't want you to do that for them anymore. And so it's like I get what you're saying because
I
it's like we
understand.
were taught
The
that.
there needs to be, to me,
What is
there
yeah,
yeah, where
what's their name now?
what is the title? It's not necessarily their name, right? Because we do say their first name. It's just the title
It's
in
the
front of it.
title to show
And so
respect. Yes.
what is the title for a genderless person, right?
That's a question.
Because I do want them to have some sort of respect factor.
Right.
And also like and truthfully, I mean, I don't have a lot of genderless people in my life,
I
right?
do, and so, like, I wish I woulda asked them before we started this podcast because
Yeah,
I could literally ask them, like, "How should my three-year-old address me
address you.
if because I am raising them to address adults in a certain way?"
Yeah,
Because obviously they probably don't care. But
exactly.
it's like you're saying, this is how we're teaching our kids, how you're teaching your children to respect elders. Or this is the same thing I said the other day. You have to teach kids. We were on the train with Action, and I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, why did this person get up?" I said, "Because she's pregnant. So let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation."
Yes.
Who do, well, and he's like, "Or hold the door open." He said, "Well, I hold the door open for everybody." I said, "That's good, but especially women." And he's like, "Oh, why?" And so we have this conversation, but people don't teach that anymore.
Yeah. And so those would be my two.
Okay.
I really feel like it needs to be. I remember I guess teaching the code switch. I have good relationships with older people. Mr. Valentine. I remember this guy named Mr. Valentine. He was a security guard when I was a security guard, and he used to tell me all these stories and stuff like other people. They have all this wisdom, and like I feel like sometimes they get kind of tossed off to the side. So
What is older?
older to me right now at 30, how old am I? At
37.
37, I feel like older to me is, if my sister's 10 years older than me, you gotta be in your 60s. 65, that's older.
That's older, but you said respect elderly. So let me rephrase it.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
65 is elderly to you now.
to me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because I feel like that, like my sister was in her 40s. I have Davin who's like in his 50s. If Davin was in his like 60 somethings, I'm like, like I would talk to him differently.
Mhm.
Uh, and so that's, I guess, my threshold. And as I get older, it changes. Like I might be older, and like if I'm 70, I might treat somebody who's 80. It might shrink. I might
Sure.
treat an 80-year-old, but I don't know. I don't know. Or it might just be like, nah, you only 10 years older than me. I don't know what it is, but I really feel like respect for my elders, and just having that charm and charisma. I really want them all three to have.
Mhm.
So what you got?
I would want to pass down um my my determination. I think, like, I remember there was a poem and I think I learned it and it was like, "Where there's a will, there's a way." And I mean, I know it's a saying, but it was a
Okay.
it's a saying, but it was a poem and it was like on the Silverstein, like you guys remember these books, the Silverstein poems, and you would have a poetry contest and things in school, in elementary school. But that this poem, and I remember learning it in the car or something with my mom or reading it even. I don't know if I learned it to say it and recite it, but it kinda stuck to me because it's like, yeah, if you really, really wanna do something, if you really, really wanna do something, you'll find a way to do it. Now, obviously, that's within the alignment and pathway of if God wants you to do it, of course, but you know what I mean? Like, you work at it, you work really hard, and I would want to pass on that determination to them. Like they can do whatever they want to do. Like even if some things come natural to them, like we can already see what comes natural to them. I think we were all like, okay, action is a natural entertainer. Okay, we don't know if he's going to go that route, but that's natural. Shine is naturally athletic. He might not go that route, but so okay, so now, but what if Shine wants to be, something else? Okay, well, you don't have to lean on your natural talents. You don't have to be an athlete. You can figure out, how to get to space. I don't want him to go to space, but I'm just saying you can figure out something else. You can work really hard at math. You can do whatever you want to do. And I think that that's something I want them to have. And that also comes with confidence. That comes with, I think, like my parents instilled upon like all of us. I remember growing up and I just said, all of my siblings had almost this like air of cockiness to us because our parents were like, "You're amazing and you can do anything."
Mhm.
And that's great. That worked in, I would say it worked in, I can't speak for all my siblings. It worked in my favor because I am a confident person. I know my flaws. I know my, weaknesses, things that I'm not so great at, but I would say overall I'm a confident person. And I was a shy I remember being shy. I wasn't shy all of my childhood, but I remember being a little bit shy and self-conscious.
Uh, Speaking of like building confidence, I started doing this thing with the boys where I just like tell them why I love them.
Yes.
Uh, I try to do it every day, and
Like, you already
yeah,
told me that.
yeah. And actually, I was like, "You already told
You
me
already
that you love me,
you love everything about me.
yeah." But I'm gonna keep doing it because I really want them to go in. Like they're going to be in spots where they are going to be the minority, and then they're going to be the minority of the minority, and uh, and in some places. So I just want them to not. I want them to be filled with love and loving themselves. The other day we did an exercise where we all say what we loved about the family,
Yeah.
this family member. And then the last one was like, what do you love about yourself?
We even did it with Liv,
Mhm.
and I love that because Liv is babbling and she's talking and she can say everybody's name. And so we would start with Liv and we would say like, "Okay, Liv, what do you love about Shine?" And we'll say Shine." And she'll say, "Shine." And then it was like it was very encouraging, I think. And it's also interesting to hear what they love about themselves.
Yeah. What was Shine's?
He said, "I'm a good hugger."
Yeah. I think it was his hugs.
And he also loved receiving hugs from other people.
Yeah, that's what he loved about you.
Yes. I said, "Good."
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Lindsay didn't do me. She was like, I'll do it later.
I did when I got off. Remember? You don't remember?
No.
I said, "I love the way you take care of the family. You take care of everyone in the family."
Ah, thank you. Ooh, I needed that. Like 2 days later.
We separated. We got on the bus. This was in motion, and you went to the back of the bus. And
Hmm. Yeah. So that's what I There's not piggyback, but like just talking about the confidence and like instilling confidence in
yes,
them.
yes,
Uh,
Yeah, because I was like, the world is already going to do what it does. And kids are mean. Kids are gonna do what they do. That's why, I'm always telling Action, like, if nobody else, you are for your brother. You are not making fun of your brother when you're like, yeah, my brother can play. Yeah, my brother is cool. Like, just trying to like help. We got each other. This is the family.
Yeah.
And so I think I definitely am like, we're gonna build each other up. We're gonna be having that determination to do whatever we're gonna do within this house. Cause also we are usually the only one. Today we went and took pictures in the park and we were the stars of Central Park.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I couldn't believe I look behind us like, what is behind us that people keep looking at?
I know. And it was park benches. And I was like, nothing. It's us. It's us.
That's wild.
This woman came over to me and said, I'm a photographer. I took pictures of Nelson Mandela and I want to take pictures of you guys.
Yeah. Also, this is the thing for people who aren't in New York. Uh, People in New York can be crazy, especially in Central Park. So I don't know if that lady was for real.
Either way though, we're usually the star attraction. And with that said, the only ones doing whatever we're doing wherever we're at. And so for that matter, our children need to be extra like you said, confident and encouraged.
Yeah. Aura.
Yeah, have it.
Aura.
Yeah. But I also okay, another thing I do you think that we should be passing down the traditions like that, like a tradition in your household? Because I'm thinking about like the things that were important to us, like Easter, dressing up on Easter Sunday,
Yeah.
like that was important. We didn't get new clothes every Easter, but we definitely went to service, and even like New Year's. Like I remember that being a praise party. That was a whole like praying into the new year, being with your family, not being away from your family. Like that was a tradition that I like that we do it now, and I hope that they still do it.
Well, I like one that we do traditions.
We do a lot of traditions.
Yeah, just based off, just flat off, I like that we do traditions because some families, they switch it up every time.
Yeah.
So I like that. There are things that will like, what would I really want? Uh, and I don't, you know what? The thing that I really want is how we have our family, but we also love and take care of and want to be participants of our old families, like our immediate families.
Hmm.
Um,
Like your immediate family and my immediate family.
yeah.
Yes.
So like on Christmas, I remember on Christmas, it was like during COVID, we all did an Airbnb, me and my family and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And we don't really have like a Christmas Day tradition. We could go wherever,
So,
but
yep.
like we do know that it's like a family day. And so we do that. And the fact that I have good relationships with my siblings and I have a good relationship with my mom and my dad.
Hmm.
I feel like that's another thing that I want to pass down. Like, hey, your siblings are your friends, but also it's a kind of like even if they're not your friends, like these are your peoples.
Yeah.
Um, like even the one that I don't have the most in common with, Alicia. She's 10 years older than me. We're still cool. We can still have fun together. Like I wouldn't call her like my best friend or anything like that. And just knowing the difference between like, these are my people and they got my back. And having backs of your siblings. But one tradition, uh, I want them to do like the tradition of marriage. Like we're doing a marriage podcast.
Yeah.
That's like some people be together forever.
That
Like,
is tradition.
I'm not gonna get married. But
I know.
everybody in my immediate family, all of my siblings are married, and I'm married. So that's 5.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
so
I can't say that.
I was thinking about the other day. I was thinking about like dancing with Liv, like the father daughter dance, and I got all teary eyed and stuff like that. I was like, oh my goodness. It's like that's a tradition I want to pass down just like our and even something I want to do is being able to pay for Liv's wedding.
Mhm.
Like that's a big deal to me. So saving up and and doing that. Uh the tradition of what's like a really fun one. Oh, we know what's the fun one? The fact that we do birthday parties on Saturdays. That's a fun tradition. That's a very family specific one.
Yes,
That if your birthday lands on Saturday, you get a party.
you get a
Uh
birthday party.
yeah. So I think those were
And we love to celebrate so much that I have to, like, start narrowing.
don't start speaking French.
We do.
No. No. You love to celebrate and
I
I
love
go
to
along with it.
I think that it's important for us to celebrate good times.
Yeah.
But
I go along with it.
yes, but we do big celebrations of birthdays when your birthday lands on a Saturday, or if it is your first birthday, or if it's your golden birthday, because those are always big birthdays. But
Yeah, like
thankfully,
Shine's golden birthday is 21.
it's gonna be big.
And that's gonna be
I
crazy.
can't wait to be there. I hope he allows us to be there.
Liz's
Shine my
birthday is
like
17. So that'll be interesting. And then Actions is 22.
so we really don't have to worry about is Liv. The other
Well,
ones
the
they
eldest
may or
one,
may not
yeah.
want us to participate in.
The Sweet 16 slash 17.
Slash 18 going to college. That we just got to start saving now for that. That's gonna be a lot. 16, 17, 18.
Would you want Liv to take a picture in a wedding dress every year like you do?
I think that's cool. She doesn't have to. No, that's my tradition. You don't even have to. That's me. So technically, you shouldn't, because I'm gonna be alive for quite some time, and she might be married, and we looking at each other like, you, what you gonna do? Would you? I mean,
Would you as soon as like, hey mom, I want to wear
your wedding dress, girl. No, I mean, yes, of course I would. I wouldn't mind.
would you
lending it
ask
to
for
her.
it?
Every year? Every year, you can wear it.
You could borrow. This would be something borrowed.
Yeah,
I need it back.
yeah, for sure. No, I don't know. I think we also, the thing about us is like how we were raised. We're always talking about this, like we're same but we're different at the same time. So I don't know. I think we make our own and our new traditions, but they're also based off of how we were raised and just like being raised in the church. Like just even going to church on Easter. I know people that like steer clear of church on Easter for this reason, for the fact that people get dressed up and people get like they don't even want all that hoopla. They want to come to church on a regular Sunday. They don't even want all this.
There's all the fake Christians.
Yeah, right, exactly. So right. But I mean we do it. We Yeah, we do it.
We're talking about traits that we want to pass down, but then it's also like, what do you feel? It's kind of weird. What do you feel that you have broken? What trait did you break from your parents that is like going to be beneficial to you? And then what trait do you think Action, Shine, Live might break, or something that you want to break but you haven't anymore?
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, well, the second one first, just because it's on my mind,
Okay.
fresh on my mind. A trait that I would want them to not have, that I think that I have, and it has carried over from my mom to me, is being busy. And I say this with all the love,
Yeah.
of course,
Of course.
because this is something about me as well. I I think that it's like I feel like I'm trying to find the right words to say it there, because
That's why I
said
said take your time.
so that my mom listens, and I love that she does. However, I feel like being purposeful and having purpose, because especially because my word this year is purpose, is obviously not the same as being busy and having a full plate. And I think sometimes, like and also, I mean, there are obligations, there are responsibilities, there are a lot of factors, especially when you have children, when you have parents, when you have all of the things. However, I know people, and I know on the flip side of that, I know other people that are able to have moments and days where they can sit down. They don't have to go on vacation to sit down.
Yeah.
They don't have to plan a retreat away for 4 days in the mountains or what, like that it's a part of their life. And I think that me as well, like as soon as I left one job, I was on the hunt for another job. And the excuse that of course I made was we need money, which we do. I'm like, we need money. I have to have a job, which is true. But I was going to take a job that was actually probably going to cost us more money because it wasn't
Yeah.
enough just because I have that busyness inside of me, I think, or just, and so I'm working on it, but I would not want my kids, and I don't think that they will because again, we talk about this generation kind of don't really want to work anyway. So I want them to be determined to do things that they want to do, but I don't want them to have to do anything. Like even when you said work, like be good workers, I I I would love for my kids not to work. I mean, and I want them to work, but I don't.
That's why people get spoiled and stuff.
And I,
That's a good one though.
but there are kids out there who are spoiled, and I'm like, because I even think about Action's classmates. I see them, and I'm like, this person probably.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
You're right. Okay, so let me just bring it in though, but for real, I don't need my children to be busy, to
Got
work.
you.
They don't need to work 9 to
Busybodies.
5
Yeah.
and then go off and do an extra volunteer work and good things, good factors, and I don't want them to not volunteer and to not, self-service. I volunteer at church, and I have to-do lists and tasks that I just like I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I think these are good qualities about me. But I also think that I put things on my plate that make me busy unnecessarily.
Got you.
And so at times I do I look at myself and say, hey, girl, calm down.
By the time you get to that point, I'm already frustrated.
Exactly.
Because the more busy you are, the more I have to do the logistics of it. And so
What? You logistics?
yes.
I'm logistics.
No, if you have to volunteer at church, who's taking over the kids? If you have to go to every single last social event that's in every cast thing, who has to do I have to
Yeah.
be the one that moves it around. And so the more busy you are, the more busy I am making sure that you can fulfill these obligations,
That's
which
what
takes away from my stuff. So that's a great one. Mine's is wait, let me get mine's in.
Okay.
Because you had a really good one. Just off that. So that was a good one. One of the things that my dad does, and I see myself doing it, that I don't want to pass down to my children, is I call it analysis paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
It's like keep on thinking and tinkering and doing all the what ifs and stuff before I go. Like there's a there's a saying in basketball. It's like study long, study wrong. Right? It's just really focus on the shot and take shooter. You miss. It's like sometimes you just gotta shoot muscle memory. And that's what I do sometimes. I'm conscious of it now, so I'm actively breaking it one by one. When I pick something, I'm like, okay, let's just do enough research on it. But an example is oh, I want to start running. Oh, if I want to start running, well, I gotta make sure I get the right app, the right training app. Okay, with the right training app, well, I need some socks and some shoes. Well, okay, what kind of now let me do the research on which shoes I should wear and I say that I want to run every Saturday. It takes me 4 months.
You ran one Saturday, and you was just still, and I woke you up. I was like, babe, you said you're supposed to start running with Christmas. Go, just go. Just get up.
But yeah, it takes so long to get to the starting line. And so that's one of the things that there is a point where you are just studying. It's almost procrastination. Yeah, it's like procrastination with the veil of I'm doing research.
Good intent.
Yeah,
And real, yeah.
yeah, I'm doing research on this,
Mhm.
but it's really procrastination. So I think that's one of the things that it's like, just do it. Like, I've been going to the gym more, but even when I'm at the gym, it's really difficult for me because I'm like, I don't have a program. And like, I see these guys at the gym. That's all. Like, last time I was at the gym, I was like, okay, just do the machines. Like, I've done the machines before. Just do 3 sets of every machine in this room.
Yes.
So it's tough. It's still tough for me because I just want everything to be kind of laid out, but one, life isn't perfect and people are going to make mistakes, and mistakes help the growth.
Mhm.
So me trying to be comfortable in something that I am unfamiliar with is actually a fool's errand
Yeah.
because it's like,
Aw.
what? Oh, because my name?
Because he said Aaron
Yeah.
and not error.
Because like, yeah, no, like it's a fool's task for me to be like, okay, let me get as comfortable I am in something that I'm uncomfortable with.
I think you were just telling my friend that too. We
What?
just had this conversation. You were like, yeah, you're trying to find comfort when you're growing or something new. And you were like, nothing new is comfortable. New shoes aren't comfortable. Nothing new is comfortable. So if it's good, you still gotta get there. Yes.
So yeah, I feel like that's kind of like how I am when it comes to like trying new things, and like I just have analysis paralysis.
Yeah. That's a good one.
That's a trait that I don't want them to have.
Yes.
I think that was a really good one.
That's a know yourself.
You got to know yourself.
We know ourselves.
And also, like, with the respect to our parents, I feel like they kind of know this stuff about them, right? Do you feel like your mom knows like that she is always
I feel like she knows that her schedule is full, but she might not. She's like, I
see
have
your
to do this.
perspective on it? Yeah.
Yeah. And so, because to me, I'm like, can you lay down some of these things?
Mhm.
Can you say no to some of these things? Versus, and same thing with me. And I think that that's what I'm doing now. Like this season, I had said this last year when I said yes to a photo shoot for the whole family. And I said, this is something I should have said no to, the story pod thing. And I said, you know what? Next season, I am going to use discernment and I'm going to pray about it because so far, so many times I'm like, when I say yes, it's been blessing me. And so I have to keep saying yes. And God's not going to take away a blessing. If he's telling me to say no, then it should be no. So I have to pray about it. And so that has been helping me to say like, yes, I have responsibilities and I want to be a part of things and all the things like that part is true. And I think that's the same with my mom. She's like, I have all of these things that I have to do. But there has to be something that you don't have to do. We have to be able to say no.
Yeah, you can't put the world on your shoulders.
Yes.
Um,
So, but yeah, that's one trait that I definitely do not want to pass down to them because I want them to be able to sit down. We look now. The ancestors have worked hard for us. Here we are.
now you're talking about like
Look, thank you, and we should be able to sit down. All right. So these are our traditions. This is our traditions and traits.
Yeah, all this for Easter because we're gonna dress up and
We are still going to dress up.
It's
We're
gonna be
going
great.
to fight the crowds. It always feels like a fight, but I mean,
It is not going to fight the crowds. We're not going to fight the crowds. It's going to be great. This time we can have Easter in Harlem, and it's going to be great.
Banana pudding, cooking.
East
Like
banana pudding.
that's
You know what? Let's get these ingredients when we turn off the cameras. But yeah, I think that's it. So what's the poll question? Let's do is there a tradition that you don't want your child that you are fine with your child not doing?
That's too long.
Why?
Because it is.
It's something that you do that you're fine that your child doesn't do. Like, I would not be fine if like they didn't grow up going to church. I'm like, how come they didn't go to church?
Yeah. Also, another trait is like, my family we didn't curse. And I think that that's a phenomenon because I know people, even, people I'm close with, that curse all the time.
Yeah.
And that is it. Like, we don't do that. And we didn't do that in my house. And we don't do that in this house. So our children are going to be like, that was a thing that was weird about me that I remember people being like, that's so weird. You don't even say the nice curse words. You know what I mean? Like, just,
There's nice curse words.
yeah, it's like, that, like, I don't even say,
I gotta edit that stuff out. Come on.
no, but we're talking about it because these are the things that's like, our kids are going to be different because
Okay.
we don't allow them.
Let's not do any more explicit language though. I really have to edit it out
Why do you have to edit that out?
because there's a tab on YouTube that says like, "Is this explicit?" And
But that's what I'm saying. That's a nice curse word. I didn't use the bad curse word.
okay. Now you the what is it, FCC?
Yes.
So you're
Because you can say those words on regular TV.
okay. Let's do this. Do you think there's such thing? This is a poll question. Do you think there's such things as nice curse words?
Yes.
Right? Yes or no? Because I'm saying no.
You've never heard that before?
No.
There
That's
are
like-
people who say not. And you know what? And it's so crazy because I know at least 3 nice curse words. You won't let me say them because now here we are.
No. And don't you say them to me either.
That's what I'm saying. Did you use curse words in your house though?
No.
But that's interesting because your siblings, or maybe just one of them, uses curse words in their house in front of their children.
Yeah.
And so that's a tradition that, again, or trait rather, that has not been passed down.
Yeah, my parents did not curse.
Interesting.
Why? I don't curse in front of you as much as I. All right, let's wrap it up.
All right, you guys. So make sure to answer this poll. I'm going to put it up on Instagram. And speaking of Instagram, please DM us. First Comes Love, TCM on Instagram.
You can always subscribe, like, share on YouTube at First Comes Love TCM. No, at First Comes Love.
And comment. And you can tell us on YouTube, like, nice curse words, bad curse words. In fact, use them in sentences. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
okay. And then you can email us. Let's talk at First Comes Love, then comes marriage.com.
Happy Easter. What?
Okay.
Are you gonna say Happy Easter?
We should also do a poll. Do you say Happy Easter or Happy Resurrection Sunday?
Ooh, second poll.
Okay. Happy Easter.
Which one do you say?
I was gonna say Happy. I say Happy Resurrection Sunday.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy Easter.
It's gonna do that, but I was waiting on you. Happy Resurrection Sunday, and talk to you Tuesday.